first question of what's the ET agenda, and I got 14 paragraphs back in 1 minute. Yeah, exactly.
And what was the most compelling part of that answer?
A lot of documents. We got original documents. We got photocopies and leaked documents. Some have gone through lots of forensic analysis. Some have not. So this is a mismatch. There's lots of pictures too. Some are on the website. Some are still in my filing. And since my father died, I cleaned out his office, and I cleaned out 23 boxes of material, books, filing cabinets, and I'm still just going through it. And I don't know, I went through one filing cabinet, here's a write-up, some background, and a little vial of allegedly Roswell crash parts. Well, it was dust or granules.
He had a vial of that.
He had a vial of it. I didn't know anything about it. It's like, okay, Dad, when were you going to tell me this shit? So, and there's a bunch of stuff, and I suspect there's probably some other leaked Majestic documents in there that he didn't share with me. He didn't tell me everything, but we work closely together. Most of the major stuff is all on the website.
What did your dad think this was? Did he ever give a real definition to you of that? And what I mean is, did he look at this as purely extraterrestrials potentially coming from another planet in a galaxy far, far away? Or did he look at it as future humans or some sort of other phenomenon like that? What was his take?
So there's two answers to that. I think the short answer is that there's multiple civilizations with multiple missions visiting planet Earth. That was his conclusion. But he was a physicist, so he was far more interested in the nuts and bolts of gravity control and what's the analysis of the electromagnetic spectrum, or what is it? Why are some of these early craft having smoke rings around them? That seems really weird. Or it was far more the nuts and bolts of the science of ufology and the evidence. And the authenticity of documents. So that was his sort of lane. We both sort of were fascinated by abductions or interface experiences, but never really investigated those. Right. We didn't go down that path.
You're more interested in the engineering side.
Yeah, the engineering side, exactly. And that was our focus. So that was his conclusion. It's sort of my conclusion too. And there's lots of reasons. People ask, what's the ET agenda? And different races have different agendas, from the Greys being maybe more genetic manipulation, to the blonde Nordics being, more altruistic and benevolent. But I'm just sort of speculating, sort of highlighting what the AI ufologist
your latest book.
Yeah, the latest book that I did, the AI ufologist, which was a really fun process. I was working on electric fusion, my day job, and using AI. So we had taken 200 or 300 scientific papers and went through, put them all into AI and started to analyze them for fusion interactions and how we do various potential fusion devices and so forth. And I was so impressed with the quality of that I said, well, I don't know, what happens if I just take, I had all these PDFs that I had scanned long ago and ask it questions. And so I did that. And the first question of what's the ET agenda? And I got 14 paragraphs back in 1 minute. Yeah, exactly.
And what was the most compelling part of that answer?
The breadth and the completeness. It's like, oh, I got like 5 or 6 of them right, and I'd been in the field a long time, but I had forgotten a lot of the other ones. So it was, that was the thing that was powerful. What's the agenda? Scientific study. I mean, that's the sort of typical one. Then resource acquisition. Well,
resource acquisition.
They're here for water or gold or human DNA. It's what benevolent guidance. Well, we got to urge this little emerging planet to clean up its act in the next 100 years and join the cosmic kindergarten.
Benevolent guidance could point to either, some sort of like we are a simulation or we're their video game. That could be it. Or it could point to like the future humans argument where they're playing with dimensions and potentially coming into this dimension as we exist here right now, visiting it to try to improve its future. I mean, that's when I see stuff like some of the things that were alleged in Virginia, but then really specifically in 1994 in Zimbabwe, that's where my thought goes, maybe that could be something from the future because of the almost like the calm gravity with which the alleged ETs express their hope for our potential as a human race.
Yeah, right on, Julian. I mean, that's very, very relevant. Some of the other ones that they highlighted, malevolent intentions, in contrast to benevolent.
Yep.
And then there's the sort of, I just don't give a damn, the indifference attitude. Survival was another concept that came up. Survival. I'm from planet Z, my sun is exploding and I need to find a new place. And so I'm whipping over to planet Earth. They got some good places in Antarctica, under the ocean, under the earth, that I can come and visit and hang out. And there's a good environment here, maybe. There's diplomatic relations,
Diplomatic.
There's the alleged Eisenhower Accords and all that stuff. Is that, well, let's start a diplomatic relationship. Well, some of them may be doing that. There's the whole observation or anthropological approach where, I'm getting my PhD in anthropology on emerging kindergarten civilizations. Let's go over to planet Earth and see how they manage this nuke, no nuke, kill the world, environmental conflict, overpopulation, ... all the problems of the world. Experimentation, let's tune up these inhabitants, maybe give them a DNA boost or somehow tweak their biology to maybe have more girls and less boys, who that's that may be coming. Spiritual and metaphysical goals, if they're all practicing Buddhism, it's going to be a happier world.
Give them something for with hope.
Yeah, exactly. Or genetic manipulation, salvation, preservation of genetics, salvation of human species. Aliens may be acting as guardians of humanity, concerned about our future survival. This can involve plans to rescue a select group of humans in the event of global catastrophe, ensuring the continuation of the species. So that's
heavy.
It's heavy. So that's an example of the sophistication of AI. I mean, at times it writes better than I can.
It's getting scary out there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then preservation of genetic stocks, and then some sort of advanced cosmic consciousness. So what impressed me with that flew for my screen in under a minute was, wow, that is good. And then I asked the next question of, well, why did they abduct humans? And it gave this huge list. And then the next question. In 16 hours, I was done. It was like I was possessed. I was in the zone, just going for it, asking tougher and tougher questions about, why does MJ12 do what it does? Or how do you resolve the conflict between MJ12 and transparency? How do you come clean? What's the reaction of the economies and the business environment to a certain level of disclosure? And so it was a very interesting process.
Oh yeah,
and I enjoyed it. And it was. And I sent it off for review, and there's lots of these are all yours. I'm gonna leave them with
thank you so much. I have this one on Kindle as well.
So that's a fun twist. I used ufodex.com. I'm going to probably do it every year and do the next edition where because I get more and more data, the answers can get more complete and
And
referenced.
AI will get better. too.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
AI is it's just moving
Yeah,
so
it's-
fast. And it's like scary because you know how much faster it is behind the scenes of what we don't have. And you see how fast it's moving out here right now exponentially. I mean, when I started using Midjourney in February 2023, I used it for James Fox's first episode, 138. That was the first time I ever used it. Looking at that then versus now, night and day. And that's
Really?
just some bullshit app that, like, you know, someone like me can use to produce some pictures. But watching the video, guys, if you haven't already subscribed, please smash that subscribe button and check out this clip's full podcast episode by clicking here